We're here at Antigua Forum with Nouh El Harmouzi. And Nouh, you founded Morocco's first free market think tank. Can you explain why you founded it and also how?
After studying in France, in Aix-en-Provence, I had the chance to meet many professors and to hear a lot about this new idea in my situation. So I had the chance and the occasion to meet many professors, etc., and to visit Cairo Institute. And after that, meeting a lot of people, we decided to create decide to initiate a program to promote classical liberalism in the Arab world. And this is why we decided to start by creating Minbar al-Hurriya, which is stand of liberty, and trying to promote our ideals, these ideas of free markets, minimum government, rule of law, and toleration in the Arab world. And we worked on this program for nearly 5 years, organizing events, meetings, summer schools, translating books, publishing articles, op-eds. And after that, we decided to create a think tank, not only a program, but structure to have offices and to train people and to be more effective. And this is how we create this think tank. Why? Our countries suffer a lot from a lot of ism, interventionism, Stalinism, communism, Islamism, particularly these days. So the answer or the voice of freedom is extremely important. And this is why our role, our duty is to explain that another alternative is possible to answer to this statism and Islamism. And this is why we decided, and this is our work currently in the Arab world.
And so liberalism is quite rare in the Arab world. So what challenges have you encountered on this journey?
Particularly the economical and political liberalism and social and philosophical liberalism is very rare due to the evolution of these countries, due to the understanding of the religion. So this is why we decide to explain the importance of economic freedom, of political freedom, and social and even philosophical and freedom of conscience. The lack of development, in my opinion, of this country find its origin of the lack of this freedom and in non-adapted or bad institutions. And we believe that with freedom, with political freedom, with economical freedom, and it's whole, you cannot, after the Arab Spring, a lot of people said that we want only political freedom and we don't want economical freedom. And we believe in the Arab Center that it's whole. You cannot have economical freedom without political freedom because they interact. And this is why we explain that creating sustainable dynamic, durable dynamic in this region is required to have economical, political freedom and freedom generally, freedom of speech. And this is our work and this is what we try to promote.
You mentioned the Arab Spring. What impact did that have on liberalism and your work in the Arab world of promoting liberalism? It's
mixed impact because in 2010, 2011, when the Arab Spring started or began, people asked for freedom, for dignity, freedom, and social justice. And we all know what can be social justice, by the way. So people wanted more freedom. I think that's in many cases now, the population understands the importance, at least of political freedom. But the Arab Spring turned in or took bad ways. It's like moving forward and after that stopping and moving backward. Because the Arab Spring started, it's not enough to demonstrate and to create and to make a revolution. This is very important, but we have a lot of issues after the revolution, and unfortunately the society was not ready to deal with the after revolution. First, Second, in this region, we have structural and a lot of problems. So after the revolution, this problem, people face the new problem. They face these new problems, and particularly the security problems. And this is why it was not a success, these revolutions. And this is why in many countries, like in Libya, like in Egypt, like in Syria, like in Bahrain, the Arab Spring was not spring, that was winter. And people now, in this climate of fear, they prefer, unfortunately, security and dictatorship than the chaos created after this Arab Spring, because the alternative was not prepared, because the civil society was extremely weak. Because of years of dictatorship, they killed the civil society, or they weakened the civil society. So when you create revolution, we need alternative. Who propose alternative civil society? When the civil society is absent, you don't have alternative. So civil society absent and a lot of violence. People prefer to go back to the dictatorship. So we understand the importance of freedom, but let's keep in mind, between chaos, violence, and freedom, the normal human being will ask for dictatorship and for security.
What do you think that the people and reformers in the Arab world can do to use the energy of the Arab Spring and to promote liberalism? What do you think needs to happen now?
Very good question. I think that's the reformer. I will talk about the classical liberal reformer. I think it's extremely important, first of all, to build strong civil society. Because this civil society, the state cannot create wealth, or at least cannot create sustainable wealth. So our role, our duty is to build strong civil society. This civil society will be able to defend their rights, their natural rights, and will be able to negotiate with politicians and to propose alternatives. Without this civil society, we will depend all the time on the state. So our role is to build it, if not to create it. And in the Arab Center and with many partners, we work with the civil society and we try to find entrepreneurs of freedom and create them through our websites, our videos, our training, our summer school, and our meeting with them. So I think it's extremely important to build this civil society first. Second, to build the culture before talking about freedom, of toleration, which is one of the principles of freedom. This is one of our vision. In our countries, this is extremely important to explain, or to make people understand that the different, even if he is different, we need to accept him. We don't have to kill him. If I'm Sunni, I don't have to kill a Shia or Shiite. So I need to tolerate him. I need to accept the diversity. After that, when we accept the diversity, we can cooperate. We can collaborate in a peaceful way. And after that, we can build the state. Before that, we cannot bring the institutions from Europe or from USA and try to implement them in this region. It will not work. We have the example of Afghanistan. We have the example of Iraq. We put lots of money. We bring democracy, etc. But it does not work. We need informal institutions that will accept these formal institutions, which is democracy. So our role is to work on informal institutions and to work on civil society and to explain the importance of toleration and the importance of freedom. It will allow us to create society and to create development and wealth.
And during the Arab Spring, you went to Cairo and you addressed the protesters on the Tahir Square. Can you tell us about how you got that opportunity and also what you told them?
During the Arab Spring, particularly after Tunisia, the population in Egypt wanted to demonstrate against Hosni Mubarak. So our duty as classical liberal is to be there. People went to the street to ask further for their rights, for freedom. So as think tank, we want to be there to talk to people, to explain the importance of freedom, to explain the state failure, to explain the trait of religious, and how with freedom, how with toleration, we can build strong society and build and have developments. So we decide to organize during this sensitive period conferences, meetings, talking about what are the principles of free society. We organize that during the day, and after that with many colleagues we decide that was Friday, and every Friday, and you have 1 billion of person demonstrating, etc. And during this Friday we said, okay, let's join the demonstrators. And we were walking with many colleagues, among them Professor Tom Palmer. We were walking and looking and hearing to all these people, and particularly the religious, preaching and talking and presenting their way of life, their views, etc. And by talking with Tom Palmer, said, why not go in there and giving another voice, another sound? A friend of us, a colleague and friend of us, her name is Nancy Ibrahim. She works in BBC. I told her, I would love to give speech to these people. Can you help me? Definitely, it's easy for her to go in because she is a journalist, and they will listen to her, etc. She told me, okay, let's do it. And she talked to them. We waited nearly for 45 minutes, and after that, they accept to give me the floor, and I explain to nearly 1 billion people the importance of freedom, the importance of rule of law. And unfortunately, I was right when I told them, you have two threats. First is military, and the second is the Islamists. I told them that. Fortunately, I'm still alive, but as classical liberal and how we work, we don't insult. I did not insult. I say it in a diplomatic way, and I show a lot of respect to these people. But we deliver our message of the importance of freedom, and freedom is always threatened and will be threatened by military, by Islamists.
You're also promoting freedom through the Summer Freedom School. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is and how it got started?
When we want to promote our ideals, we ask ourselves what are the best tools to do it. And when we want to find entrepreneur of freedom to help us, unfortunately, in our region, used to hear only conservative speeches, we did not find them. We did not find a lot. So, two options. Start crying and say, no one is here, we'll not do anything. Or the second option is to create them. So we decide to organize meetings, to organize activities, conferences, etc. And this is the theoretical scientific part. We want also to train youth. And this is why we organize, and we still organize, a lot of summer camp or summer schools or summer universities. We organize in Morocco, in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Lebanon, in Jordan. We organize 2 per year. We bring a lot of youth, entrepreneurs of change, entrepreneurs of freedom. We bring them to a country, to a hotel, and we work with them for nearly 1 week about our ideals. And now we have a strong network of 300 persons working with us, writing paper for us, publishing this paper for us. And this is the idea of organizing the summer school, basically to create or to build a strong network of freedom defenders.
Thank you very much, Noah.
Thank you for inviting me.